A veil of secrecy is about to be lifted from an ancient and mysterious part of southern Nevada's past. The BLM on Monday will announce the dedication of the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area.
Included in that 48,000-acre area is a canyon that contains one of the greatest concentrations of Native American rock art in the country. The canyon's still a sacred site to Native Americans. Its location's been kept quiet for many years.
George Knapp with the I-Team was invited along for an exclusive look. George.
Well, Paul and Gary, the fact that Sloan Canyon is the spiritual center of the new conservation area isn't a total secret. Hikers and petroglyph experts have known about it for years, but the larger public has been kept in the dark, and with good reason. The canyon has been described as the Sistine Chapel of petroglyphs. It is precious beyond measure to Native Americans and many others, and we were fortunate to get an advanced tour of the place. In one sense, the hike into the canyon is like traveling via time machine, not only because the artwork spans perhaps 2,000 years, but because the deeper into the canyon you go, the younger the rock art becomes. The images carved or painted onto the rocks are simple at first, people or animals, but they become more complex with time. At the end of the canyon, where the youngest petroglyphs are found, the rock art depicts the arrival of whites in the Las Vegas Valley. There's little question that this is a cowboy. Elsewhere is this image of another cowboy on horseback. The sheer concentration of rock art makes this a special place, something Native Americans already knew.
It's priceless. It's unique. Having this high density of images and rock art in this small of an area is almost unprecedented, especially when you consider how many different tribes probably participated in this rock art.
Is it still a sacred site to Native Americans?
It definitely is a sacred site.
Some of the images are simply stunning in their complexity. This one seems to resemble a figure in a helmet. Researchers call this one the space alien for its resemblance to E.T. If you look closely, you might guess these two figures is definitely male. Since 1976, when the canyon was first studied, its inventory of known petroglyphs has risen from 200 to more than 1,700, created by many different tribes, including the vanished tribe of Anasazi. The most common image throughout is that of sheep, specifically bighorn sheep. It's the presence of sheep that explain why the tribes were here. Natural sinks in the rock captured the only water in the region. The sheep came for the water, the tribes came for the sheep.
So above us we have bighorn sheep hunting blinds. These are actually strategically placed features, and they would be able to then have a relatively decent opportunity to harvest the bighorn.
The BLM makes no attempt to interpret the rock art. They believe the various tribes left offerings to the sheep or their deities to bless the hunt, and some of the work may be the act of marking one's turf.
They're not incidental doodling. They repeat themselves over thousands of square miles throughout the Southwest.
The canyon is a fragile place. Some of the rock art has already been chipped away and stolen. There is fresh evidence of bonfires and partying, and the drone of development marches ever closer, causing concern of even more vandalism in the future. It's a daunting challenge to develop a plan that will both protect this special place while somehow allowing the world to appreciate it.
I think the big challenge is going to be to sit down with the tribes and, of course, our other customers and stakeholders to figure out what's going to be acceptable in terms of the type of story to tell about this place.
The exact location of the petroglyphs will not be made clear by anyone, although people intent on finding them probably could. Volunteers patrol the area now. Eventually, the BLM will have personnel there round the clock, or the Park Service, that is, round the clock to deter vandals and to conduct guided hiking tours. The creation of the conservation area was made possible by the passage of the Clark County Lands Act and financed by the sale of 500 acres for development. If you'd like more information about the conservation area or about Monday's dedication ceremonies and the public's invited, you can take a look at our website, Klas-Tv.com. And I'm told you can take pictures of these things, but don't touch them, right. A, because you hurt the petroglyphs, and B, you might be cursed.
It is a sacred place. Thanks. That's kind of neat, George.
Yeah.